Lycidas summary and analysis of Lycidas. So the summary is the poem begins with the speaker collecting leaves for the funeral of Lycidas. He plucks berries and ivy um, that he have not yet repented, killing them before their season. Like Lycidas, the plants die too young. After collecting leaves for Lycidas, the speaker decides to write an elegy for him, the very elegy that we are reading. In stanza 2, he calls upon the Moses to fill him with song. A pastoral poets like Theocritus and Virgil do at the beginning of their own poems when they ask the muses to inspire the creation of their poetry. In stanza 3, the speaker recalls the days he spent with Lycidas, invoking rural imagery, images that veil Milton's own memories of his days with Edward King at Cambridge, the self same hill where they learned together. He calls that those days are over at the beginning of stanza 4, and his description of the landscape twists to fit his own new mood. In stanza 5, he asks the nymphs why they were not there to help Lycidas when he died, then realizes it makes no difference. There is no scenario in which Lycidas would have lived. In stanza 6, the speaker reaches the first major crisis of the poem. He wonders whether poetry can accomplish anything and reflect on the limitation of fame on earth. The god Apollo um, arrives to console him with the promise of fame in heaven, an early version of the poem's final conclusion in the Christian promise of resurrection. In stanza 7 through 9, the speaker images a slew of water gods arriving to mourn the death of Lycidas. They have come to answer the call the speaker made to the muses at the beginning of the poem when he asked them to fill his urn with water and mourn Lycidas as they passed. Neptune's son uh, Triton arrives first, with his winds following behind him. None of them accepts blame for Lycidas' death. They say the winds were good and the water was soothed. The ship sank because it was built during a eclipse and doomed to fail. Saint Peter arrives last in the procession to mourn Lycidas. The speech he gives over Lycidas' body quickly turns into a sermon on the wrongs of church leaders who, who he images as a group of shepherds singing broken songs while the sheep starve. The two massacres represent the great to heaven and hell, which Saint Peter has the power to open for the save and the demand respectively. In the stanza 9, the speaker calls upon the uh, flowers to mourn for Lycidas, then suddenly remembers that Lycidas' body is somewhere in the sea where there can be no proper funeral. In stanza 10, the speaker imagines the sun setting only to rise again. The image is a metaphor for Christian resurrection. Like the setting sun, Lycidas has died only to rise again in heaven through the image of the rising sun. The poem arrives at the final consolation. In the last stanza of the poem, the shepherd falls silent and a new speaker takes his place. The new speaker describes the shepherds rising to explore new pastures, leaving the place where he grieved for Lycidas. And the start of the analyzing is also important, but I can't speak. I can share my screen. You can just see the analyzing. It is also important because not the summary also important. The if you want to brief know about the poem, you must know the analyzing, and you yourself must analyze a poem. So I share my screen.